Shalom, Mr. First foremost, said when all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kakadash. They want to see apostles, nails great millstone, for teaching us his truth, peace, and blessings to the whole like Rizal. Yahweh is the name of the Henfron Chibu, by Hashem is the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back on the lesson, as he within that title, which I actually have right here, Elon Musk, Interstellar Civilization. And, a couple of scriptures came to mind, dealing with, why did he enrage? Why do they imagine a vain thing? As they've been pushing for, people to be sent, to Mars, to inhabit that and make it, hospitable, for lack of better words. And want to pretty much conquer, space, these various planets and all these various things. But as you get throughout the scriptures, the Lord has set bounds that he cannot pass, which I got all these, scriptures throughout the lesson. So the Lord will, be edifying. Came across this post, which Elon Musk, put on X regarding, building a interstellar civilization. So I just looked up, two quick little things right here, the information on it. So I was reading into it. Elon Musk aims to transform humanity into an interstellar species to ensure the survival of consciousness. And it says, driven by a philosophy of curiosity and fear of existential risk. His primary vehicle for this goal is SpaceX, which develops rapidly reusable Starship rockets designed to build a self-sustaining city on Mars. He's been talks of, they want to send people to Mars and all those types of stuff. To inhabit it, want to make it hospitable to where people are able to live on it. But once again, a Lord set bounds that you cannot pass. These other planets are not for you. But this long-term vision includes traveling to other star systems and exploring the cosmos, as they made that point. This is what they want and are planning to try to do, to conquer and inhabit these other planets, which they ain't for you, and it's something that you're not going to be able to do. So I'll read a little bit more into this. Key aspects of Musk's vision. Multi-planetary focus. Musk believes establishing a self-sufficient permanent base on Mars is a critical first step, targeting a sustainable settlement by roughly 2055. But also another thought came to mind is the devil trying to flee away, trying to hide, trying to escape, his coming judgment. But you're not able to. The Lord has covered all routes of escape. There is no running, That's why you see the devil trying to prepare for this attack that's coming. Why do you think he created a space force in the first place? Why do you think they have so many satellites and telescopes pointed at space? What do you think they're trying to keep tabs and, eyes on? The idea you had a while back, which I'm not sure if it's still close to Earth or not, dealing with 3A Atlas. And even before that, you had multiple chariot sightings, huge, gigantic chariots, which are the so-called UFOs of the day, being spotted. And you see a lot of those cameras that pretty much have eyes, on these chariots, always, end up, the feed end up getting cut. This devil trying to hide things. But let's read a bit more. It says independent SpaceX and Starship. The independent reports that fleets of around 1,000 starships could be used to facilitate this transition. But why did he enrage? Why did they imagine a vain? This is a vain thing. As well as going to this devil want to live and reign forever, which is not going to happen. Now let's see, Cardiff scale. Musk's long-term goal aligned with advancing humanity toward a Type 2 civilization, which would be capable of utilizing the full energy output of the host star reports. AI and data centers. Recent reports suggest that SpaceX satellite technology for space-based radiation cool data centers as a step towards advanced energy efficient civilization. But it's that, and this further, it's pretty much the same point, but it's that Elon Musk building a space civilization, SpaceX. So I typed that in because I was trying to find the article because he put up a whole link to SpaceX.com, whatever the case may be, but this pretty much just shortens all that up. But Elon Musk is aggressively, so a Revelation 12 and 12, they know they have to put a short time. He's trying to make a dash. You're not gonna be able to, because this ain't for you. But see, Elon Musk is aggressively pursuing a space-based civilization by integrating SpaceX with this AI company, XAI, to build orbital data centers, launch millions of tons of cargo, and establish self-sustaining cities on the moon and Mars. Because he's also going to bring up the moon. Because they also have talks of, dealing with that. And they show you, especially within movies, for example, like, what's it called? Men in Black. Where you had, bases on the moon. But that ain't going to happen. Utilizing Starship, Musk aims to create a Kardashev Type 2 civilization, which we've read, aiming for rapid, massive scale space industrialization. So this devil is a destroyer. You see, he wants to conquer, control everything. Especially going to this God complex, this devil has. But he's aiming for rapid, massive scale space industrialization, yet you see all the things this devil does to the environment, the habitats of these animals, the things he's doing to this earth. This is why you see the earth not, what's what I'm looking for, bearing, its fruit as it, did in the past, or, not as well. Crops are not as good, and everything is suffering under this rule, under this devil's rule. But as I made that point earlier, the Lord has set bounds that this devil cannot pass. And guess what? Space is most definitely one of them. Because you get in the scriptures in John 14, which we can actually grab. Excuse me. John 14, I want to say the 6th verse, if I'm correct. Okay, it's the second verse then. It says, "In my Father's house are many mansions." Now, it's not literally speaking of mansions, but planets. Literal planets. It says, "In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." So this is for, the Israelites. And specifically, starting with the elect. Not you devils, man. But let's go back into these points. Getting these scriptures that came to mind. It says Psalms 49 and 11. Now it says, "Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever." This devil thinks he's going to be able to rule and reign forever. That is why you see him trying to pursue immortality on left-hand side via technology, and just various things that has been doing. As you see with the adreno, chrome that they drink, which they is said to be a slow the aging process. He also have talks of cryo freeze, cryostasis, whatever you call it, which they show you in Fallout, and various other types of movies where they'll freeze a person and then wake them back up. But this is one of their hopes that freeze whoever, and then once they have the type of technology or the case may be, they'll be woken back up and obtain so-called everlasting life. see what else we're here. Psalms 49:11. Now it says, "In regards of the house shall continue forever, and the dwelling places to all generations. They call the lands after their own names." So this is one of their inward thoughts. As I made the point, dealing with technology, transhumanism, connecting humans with technology. So the best you can already see with this MOTB, this charagma. And they also show you in various movies actually, Chappie being a good example. Where in that movie they transfer the humans, consciousness they call it, and they pretty much implant that into the robot. It's pretty much able to live forever. So this was this devil trying to, and immortality is only for the Israelites, starting with the elect. But let's continue on with the rest of these scriptures. As Psalms 2, in verse 1, it says, "Why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing?" This is a vain thing. Thinking they're able to, rule, live forever. Thinking they're able to, conquer the universe. As they read, this long-term vision includes traveling to other star systems and exploring the cosmos. This ain't for you. Because we read in John 14:2. "Which in my Father's house are many mansions." So I picked the wrong one. "If it were not so, I would have told you I'd go to prepare a place for you." And this was promised unto the nation of Israel, the 12 tribes. Got a few more scriptures. John 14:5 says, "Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass." So he's set to rule for a certain period of time. His days are literally numbered. Read that last bit one more time. It says, "The number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass." So the Lord has drawn a line in the sand, and you can't cross it. John 20:5, "That the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment." So just further establishing that point, this devil is set to rule for a certain period of time. And once that time is up, it's up. You get a script for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So Jacob, which is going to Israel, the 12 tribes, we're up next. There's also another kingdom, or another scripture going to how the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Who's that kingdom being translated unto? The Israelites. Got a few more. Isaiah 14:13-14. Further going to show this pride, as I made that point earlier, this God complex this devil has. Verse 13. "And for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High." As you especially just see everything the devil is doing today. You have talks of, bioengineered, wombs, where you can customize and create your own, child. You have, these satellites, which they show you in the movie Geostorm and a few other examples where, they're able to manipulate, control the weather. This type of stuff they actually, have. And we had this video, which I actually made a lesson regarding it, of this rain cloud pretty much generator that NASA has, and this video was over 9+ years ago. So you can imagine the type of stuff they have now. Verse 14, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." He wants to be like God. Especially why he wants to, push out this charagma, this MOTB, because you receiving that mark. Because to show that you're making Esau Edom your God. Got a few more. Obadiah 4. And it says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, whose national animal is the eagle? America, Esau, Edom. So, going to show who this is speaking of. Because you also see an ancient architect, buildings, and you always see that eagle there. As you especially see dealing with America. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So you ain't going anywhere. As we're going to further establish that point, which we get right here, and also Malachi 1:4, the main one I wanted to get, go along with Obadiah, but I'll get to this first. So Amos 9:2 says, though they dig into hell, which is deeper in the ground, then shall mine hand take them, because you also have these dumps, these deep underground military bases that they have, that they're especially going to try to flee to, try to escape their coming judgment, especially trying to flee to these space stations. Then shall my hand take them, though they climb up to heaven, which is the sky, space, thence will I bring them down. So you ain't going anywhere. Further establish that point, the Lord has covered all routes of escape. And though they hide themselves on top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence, and though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, as they have these luxurious, submarines able to live in for however long. Well, watch this. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. Soon the Leviathan will also be unleashed. As you have that movie, that popular quote in the movie, release the Kraken. Well, the Lord can release the Leviathan. And also could be speaking of other types of creatures that you don't even know of. Because over 5% of the ocean has been explored. You can imagine the type of stuff that's down there. You also get Wisdom of Solomon goes into these newly created beasts, able to emit fire from the mouth, and all types of stuff. But Malachi 1:4, one of the points I was going to get, whereas Edom said we are impoverished, but we return and built the desolate places, thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh Shai had the indignation forever. So to establish that point, the Lord set bounds that you cannot pass, and you ain't going anywhere. And you're not going to inhabit and conquer and explore the cosmos to all these different, galaxies and planets. That's for the elect. The Israelites, starting with the elect. As the Lord said. And it says, if it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. It doesn't say everyone. I want to just say a vain thought. This devil has to be able to, live and, reign forever. And you see he's trying to extend that reign to these various other planets. This is what you also get in the scriptures. Where was it? Matthew 24:22. And except the days shall be shortened, and the flesh be sick, but for like sake, those days shall be shortened. Or else, this devil will just destroy this place, man. Continue to make things even worse than it is. Because that's his duty, that's his job, to be the wicked, to be the bad guy, to be that destroyer that he is. And look at the earth today. Now imagine if he was able to go to these various other planets and, he got to go. But that's the point right there. Lord was edifying. I do close out, give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Shah Bashim Kakadash and Shalom.